I am so pleased about The Abolition of Man, for it is almost my favourite among my books, but in general has been almost totally ignored by the public. This is Pints with Jack, Season 9, Episode 2. Matt says hello. A belated welcome to Season 9.
Have you been looking everywhere, searching for a place where you belong? Away from the masses, among clinking glasses, where the hearth fire is on. Let the laughter welcome you in, that eagle and child din. There's room at this table, so take a seat and tuck right in. For Pints with Jack, Pints with Jack.
Hello, Matt.
Hello, everyone. I'm David, and welcome to Pints with Jack. This is episode 2, because last week we shared the audio from the Petoskey C.S. Lewis Festival, where Andrew and I recorded episode 1 live. So today we thought we'd introduce season 9 more broadly and have Matt say hello. Say hello, Matt.
Hello, Governor.
And please join us again next time when we'll continue going further. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
Goodbye, Matt.
Cheerio. Let's put another shrimp on a barbie.
Okay, boy.
Well, if folks have been watching our Common Room episodes for the past few months, they'll know some of what's been happening since the end of season 8. I mean, in the wider world, we now have a new pope. There's a new Archbishop of Canterbury. But for you two, what have been some of the highlights?
First of all, we are recording episode 2.5.
My fault.
This happens sometimes, guys. I'm excited to see what the Holy Spirit brings this conversation, because sometimes Satan stops recordings and attacks our stuff, and those are usually when the best magic happens. We have recorded this entire thing once before.
So expect it to be really polished this time.
Yeah, it's going to be really polished. And our primary failed and our backup failed. So our two systems ultimately failed with this, ironically. So it's quite funny.
Maybe it stopped because we were trying to produce magic. That's not Bible, dude.
For those who don't know yet, I do have a big life update. We are expecting, and we are at the time of
Little David Andrew.
Gonna be a beautiful boy. Beautiful boy, David Andrew.
I actually did really. Mary Margaret has come around slightly. I don't think it's going to end up getting to the top 1, but it's a compliment to David. My top 3 for guys, and we're going to wait and figure out if it's a guy or girl, was Alexander. I love that name. I think it's a great name.
Good name.
Yeah. I unfortunately, I don't know if it'll squeeze it right to the top, but it's now probably in our top 5. I think she's warming up to it, but we've got a girl name. If it ends up being a girl, deeply dialed in. You just know when you know, and we knew that one. Mm-hmm. We are still circling a number of guy names if it's that. But no, we are, God's timing is the best timing. It's been longer than we expected, but the beautiful part is he has the perfect plan. I'll actually hold up, guys. This is, I keep this little image of the ultrasound by my, and then the back side of it is the foot.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And so I'll do that. There's the little body.
The little shrub.
Yes.
Probably 24
shrub.
Because it's a baby bush.
According to my wife's favorites, Monday morning routine, natural cycles, which syncs up with our Aura ring. Says it's 23 weeks along, and it's a squash, and it's 24 ounces at this stage. So we are very, very excited.
A little shrublet.
Yeah. No, it's been, I appreciate everyone. I do know, ironically, I see a few people who are Pints with Jack listeners, people here in the DMV area and stuff. And I've had the people we know, we had a scholar actually that was in here working. He came over and actually said he was so excited to hear that because he's been praying. I know there's been a number of people. So if you're on the other end, I do want to say thank you deeply for that. Mm-hmm. We obviously believe in the power of that. And I know there have been some doing that. So we are incredibly excited, incredibly grateful.
Wonderful. Well, I have been busy as well. Traveled to Ireland with the C.S. Lewis Foundation, got to meet Andrew Roycroft, the marvelous poet, and Stuart Horner from the C.S. Lewis Institute of Belfast. Belfast was an amazing city. And then we went up north. We saw the little hotel room where Jack and Warnie and Flora would stay when he went to a holiday at sea. And it was in that room that he saw the train conductor whose name was Jaxie. And so saw his boyhood home. You could actually hear the shipbuilders in Belfast Lough from where Lewis was raised. So he saw and heard the Titanic being built. And we were in a cab and drove past the port, and the cabbie said, yeah, the Titanic was fine when she left Belfast. And then loads of new book projects. We're very close to finishing up the volume on Whitfenstock called Rediscovering Lewis, a collection of essays out of our conference, Still Speaking, C.S. Lewis's Theologian for the Third Millennium. And working away on another book project that should be done, please God, by the end of the month, and hoping to get my dissertation done by the end of the year. And so Dr. Lazo by February, please, Lord. So loads of new things. And then I'm settling into my new job at St. John's, Tampa. And I think I'm involved in at least 7 or 8 different ministries. And so I'm getting to know loads of parishioners, and just decided last week, and we've got this finalized, Mere Christians is not only going to return, it'll return to Church of the Messiah. There was some uncertainty as to whether we would move it to Tampa this year, but we'll go back to Winter Garden, Florida, Church of the Messiah, Mere Christians. And we're talking about a title right now, and we're maybe thinking about something to do with story, which could fit into the way that we see our own stories and tell our own autobiographies. The Gods Probed Me with My Own Pen, says David's favorite book by C.S. Lewis. And so April 24th and 25th, we may do a tiny price bump, but we'll be doing April 24th, 25th. After Easter, we'll be doing Mere Christians in Winter Garden, Florida, and probably something. We want to at least open the door to Narnia, because next Thanksgiving, we're expecting Magician's Nephew to come out. So, and then Kristen and I are on the tail end of loads of traveling and speaking. Michigan for the Petoskey Festival, and did some stuff in Alabama with the Daughters of the King from the Episcopal Church, and English speaking union speaking about Tolkien. And yeah, we've done a great deal, and we're tired, but we're grateful to be with you all. So what about you, David?
Well, actually, just before I give my update, since we've had this conversation before, I asked you guys, well, when the Titanic left Dublin, where did it go?
Ooh.
Can you remember?
Yes. I can. Matt?
No, I don't remember.
It went to Southampton, right?
It did. My alma mater.
Yes.
So it was fine when it left where Lewis lived. It was not fine after it left where I went to university. And actually, if anybody is in Southampton, if you go to the Titanic Museum there is an engine. It's not obviously an original Titanic engine. My dad isn't that old, but there is an engine there that my dad worked on while he was also studying at university in Southampton. It's got his initials on there, if you can take off the casing.
Ah, there you go.
So that's my connection with Lewis on this one.
Well, and his grandfather, Albert's father, was a shipbuilder. So there's that connection as well.
Did not know that.
Yeah.
Well, updates since last season. Henry Nicholas arrived. He is doing great. He started off very small. He is now a real chunky monkey, a real fatty. So everybody's very happy.
That's amazing.
And the kids have taken to him wonderfully and always very, very sweet. Lucy greets him each morning with, "Hello, buddy."
Oh, calls him buddy. Oh, that's very sweet.
And I am also now over 200 days on Duolingo Latin. I have, since I've actually completed the course, because the Latin course is kind of short, I have now started Duolingo Spanish, if for no other reason than to have a secret language that we can speak in between my wife and I, so the kids can't understand. Because we used to be able to spell things. The trouble is Alexander is learning his letters now, and he's actually guessed a few times when we've spelt something out, what we've said.
Oh, no way.
Oh, boy.
So we need to switch to a new language. So that's going to be Spanish. And since I'm learning languages in the morning, I also decided to pick up something that I haven't done in ages. When I was at university in Southampton, I was the chairman of the Sign Language Society. And so I learned British Sign Language up to stage 2. And so I've now started from scratch on American Sign Language using an app, which is absolutely fun, and it's one of my favorite parts of the day when I get to sit down and learn a few new signs.
Oh, that's great. A friend of mine taught her son sign language just, as a way to communicate with him. And before he had, a very large vocabulary, because a lot of times, because kids are kinesthetic learners, they learn physically before they learn verbally necessarily or orally. And so they were moving from British Columbia to England. And she said, Caleb, when we get to England, would you like a kitty cat, which is, making whiskers by your face, or she pats her leg, would you like a puppy dog? And Caleb thought about it, and he said, I want a red tricycle in sign language. So he had some vocabulary for sure.
Well, since we are now recording these episodes later in the day, what are you both drinking?
I have a blend. It's later, but due to my schedule, we are not truly in the evening hour, and there's a little bit more work. So I have a small little glass of Lagavulin because, it's not the morning.
Yes.
And then I am finishing it out with Athletic Brewing and our beautiful mugs.
Oh, that's great. Well, sadly, I'm still at work, so I am drinking water, but I'm pronouncing it correctly.
Well, I'm going to offer a toast to the little shrub. May you make your appearance exactly on time, and we look forward to talking to you soon. Cheers.
Yay. Cheers. The shrublet.
Cheers. And may you be just like my wife.
Amen. Let's drink again to that.
Well, let's now talk about the road ahead this season. So we are in December at the time of publishing, and this month is technically going to be Narnia Month. So last episode, we were at the Petoskey Festival, and today we're just introducing the season to you guys. But in the next episode, we'll be joined by Lazo Major, or Dr. Lazo Major. Even after Andrew has his advanced degree, he will still be Dr. Lazo Minor.
But I'll be the Reverend Dr. Lazo Minor.
All right, that's it. We're going to have to get Kristen ordained on the internet. We can get that one sorted out really quickly.
Absolutely.
But we're going to have Kristen, Andrew's wife, on to talk about Narnia in the 80s. Because last season we did Narnia in the 70s, and we spoke about two adaptations, the black and white one and the cartoon adaptation of The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. So in this season, we're going to look at the so wonderful BBC adaptation of The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe.
I'm excited for this.
Have you watched it yet?
No, when are we recording?
Soon. Watch it quickly.
Okay.
Yes. It's not an hour before we record. Of course he hasn't watched it. Oh, let's see. What year were you born, Matt?
1991.
Yeah, he was born after this was aired.
Okay. I think I watched it around the year you were born.
All the best things happened in 1991, so doesn't surprise me.
Wow.
I watched it live on British TV in the 80s.
Oh my
that's actually
gosh.
pretty cool. That's a
that
fun
is
claim to
very
fame.
cool. Yes, sir.
So after we discuss the BBC adaptation, we will then be interviewing Terry Linville. He's going to be returning to the show to talk about The Joy of Narnia. And it's basically about teaching high schoolers, middle schoolers, and how Narnia plays into that.
That's great.
Fun fact, at the moment, I'm rereading The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe to Alexander at bedtime. About halfway through last week, he came to me with a copy of The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe and said, Daddy, can we please read this again?
Oh.
And I
can't
played
say
it
no.
so cool. It's like, yeah, sure. Inside I'm doing a little jig.
No, you bargained for it.
You didn't
sure,
push
but you
it
need to
though,
make sure
right?
you
Are you sure you want to? Yeah.
Yeah, sure, if you like.
That's fantastic. That's a parenting win of all time.
So then after this month, we're going to enter an after hours month because we'll also be entering Advent. And around Christmas, we're actually going to be discussing C.S. Lewis's Sermon for Pagans. And we're also going to be discussing Storge, the affectionate familial love in C.S. Lewis Reading Day, when we'll have another live stream. And we'll wrap up the month with some interviews, interviewing Leslie Baines about Between Interpretation and Imagination, which is her book on C.S. Lewis and Scripture. Geoffrey Barbeau, Lewis as The Last Romantic, and Julia Golding, Malcolm Guite, and Simon Horrobin are also releasing a book called Wardrobes and Rings. And so we'll be discussing that as well.
So good. Yeah, I don't think you met her, but I met Leslie Baines at the Undiscovered Lewis conference. And
Yeah, that's right. I was horrified when I realized, wait, she was there?
Yeah. Oh, boy, almost everybody was there. So.
All the cool people.
Well, you
Where
were
were
there,
you, Matt?
so. Yeah. Hi, Matt. Hi, Matt. That should become a meme. Hi, Matt.
It's quite a standard thing on live streams that I've seen on YouTube when they like bring up a panel when someone sends a super chat. It's like, oh, it's great to see da da da, and all amazing scholars, and then just at the end it's like, oh hi, and then whoever it is that they want to insult.
That's good.
But we try to be marginally more
happy.
charitable.
Yes, we do. Absolutely. So then we're going to do what comes after that.
Well, we're going to be doing our book of the season, which is going to be The Abolition of Man. So we're going to do that from January all the way through to March because it's a fairly short work, but we're going to do multiple episodes on each chapter. So we'll move through the arguments slowly because it is one of Lewis's, denser books.
Absolutely. No, I think taking some time with it. And I have a terrible admission, but I have a match set of Abolition of Man and After Humanity, Michael Ward's enlightening commentary and explanation of that book, but I haven't had a chance to reread Abolition and to read Ward's commentary, and so I'm totally looking forward to this as a perfect excuse to do that.
And as we heard in the opening quotation, this was another of Lewis's books which he thought was practically his best.
Yes.
Could we agree this might slightly diminishes Lewis's ability to assess his own works? I mean, we've got two that he's now self-classifying and assessing that are far from anyone really.
Yeah. Okay. Scroll back up to the quote.
Okay.
All right. Here's the quote, but actually this is helpful because most disagreements about Lewis can be solved by actually looking at what he actually said. Lewis says, and he probably says it, I don't know where it comes from, but it's probably in the 40s. He says, I'm so pleased about The Abolition of Man, for it is almost my favorite among my books. Okay. So it is not his favorite, but almost. And favorite is different than best, and certainly far and away best. And he also says, but in general, it has been almost totally ignored by the public. I was thinking about this today too, by the way. I'm doing my work on my dissertation and using Steve Beebe's book on communication. And Lewis was intentional. And I think that that's part of why Till We Have Faces and Abolition of Man are kind of a disappointment to him, because he intended to get a message across and people didn't get it, or didn't get it yet until I write my book. So yes, it's a similar pattern. And elsewhere, Lewis says that Perelandra is one of his favorites. He never, though, says that second best book.
Yeah. What goes to show, though, is his judgment is far different than the public's. I think that's more what I mean by it. Therefore, his assessment is not going to be the same as the public. And so I think that's slightly important. Every book he's kind of praised of his is like the least favorite to the public. So, and sometimes that happens. I'm in the software space, and sometimes you have to understand your target customer is not you. So when you're building something, you have to make sure you're not just building it for yourself, because you aren't actually representative of the person who actually is buying it. And so I think there's a little something here, but
there's a little something. But then I think one should also think about the life of a book, because John Donne was not really well received until rather recently. And so books can have revivals, or books can finally come into their own. And so I think that Lewis is taking a long view. And that's part of why Till We Have Faces is his best, because by the long measure, it certainly is. But yeah, you knew I'd
Once
get there.
we die, I will be proven right, Andrew says. I'm kidding.
Yes.
We love you,
The
Andrew.
only thing I'll add to this is I think it does indicate something, and that's a slightly contrarian nature among Lewis. When we eventually get to Surprised by Joy, we will see this, that there is, this is also something that's in myself. If something's wildly popular with people, I immediately don't want to like it. And if people are willing to dismiss something, it's like, let's maybe take a little closer look. But among his friends, they really like this as well. And I dug out a quotation from Owen Barfield. It's actually on the back cover of some copies of The Abolition of Man. And he says that it is a real triumph. There may be a piece of contemporary writing in which precision of thought, liveliness of expression, and depth of meaning unite with the same felicity, but I have not come across it.
Wow. And that was done late in his life. That was in 1986. So, apropos of, best and favorite and everything, I just stumbled across a Narnia web poll for what are your top 3 Narnia books? What are your top 3 favorite Narnia books? So we'll do that another time.
What would you say, Matt?
Yeah. Okay, go.
Let's do it now.
Sure.
Matt, I'm curious. What would you say are your top 3 in order?
No, The Horse and His Boy.
Okay.
Correct.
Very much because I think that beautiful story of identity is just absolutely fantastic. Last Battle, because of the wisdom of near the end. And number 3, now that's tough.
It's funny, we're actually saying in their podcast, it's number 3 that people really agonize over.
Yeah, because I think those first 2 are kind of obvious to me, not necessarily to the world. So I'm torn between 2, which now we're already getting to like over half of them, but either just Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe for the majestic nature of just coming into the world and giving it a bump for that. I do think there's something in there. But I also really did like this idea, which was the silver chair. And I like the idea that you can have all of truth like presented to you up front in the plan and it can still deviate. And I really liked the scene in the wisdom that was communicated in that scene in the chair that was kind of happening and the voices. So probably gun to my head, I would say silver chair for like what it communicates, but Lion, the Witch, and Wardrobe for like, all right, this is your first experience. It is very magical.
How about yourself, Andrew?
It's absolutely easy. But apropos of our earlier discussion, when the last Archbishop of Canterbury visited, this is my flex because I'm in my office. When Justin Welby, the previous Archbishop of Canterbury, visited Virginia Seminary my senior semester, my last semester, and I gave him a first edition of The Last Battle. Partly because I thought that it speaks so well to what some of the modern issues of our time. Easily for me, you have to start with Lion because that's where it all starts. And that's where the spell gets cast. Voyage of the Dawn Treader is one of my all-time. If I had to pick one, it would be Voyage. If I had to pick top 3, I would say Lion, Voyage, and then Horse and His Boy, which is dedicated to David and Douglas Gresham. And I have an American third edition of that says to David and Douglas Gresham, and now to Andrew. Blessings, David and Douglas Gresham. So what about you, David?
Number 1 is The Horse and His Boy. Number 2 is The Magician's Nephew.
Really?
And number 3 is The Voyage of the Dawn Treader.
Lion doesn't make it.
Doesn't make it.
Makes it with your kid.
It makes it with my son, but these are the books that hit me when I read them.
Okay.
When we get to the scene when Shasta's on the mountain and Aslan says, "One who has waited long for you to speak." I get chills over my body every single time. And it's Voyage I really enjoy, but doesn't have quite that same experience. But in The Magician's Nephew with Diggory, when he looks up into the lion's eyes and realizes that perhaps the lion loved his mother even more than he did, it's like, destroys me every time. So that's my top 3.
Okay, I think for rereading, I'd probably put Voyage first.
No, you can't keep reordering them every time.
Anyway, it's a great debate, and we absolutely encourage, and I'm sure David will find the link. Encourage our listeners to go over and support Glumpuddle and Narnia Web and enter your own 3.
Anyway, back to our season. Enough talking about other people's podcasts. We're going to be reading through The Abolition of Man. And like I said, we're going to do multiple episodes per chapter. 3, in fact. So we'll look at chapter 1, break it into 3 parts. And then we're going to have a review episode. And we're going to do that for each of the 3 chapters. So first of all, we're going to have Dr. Alan Snyder. He's going to come on and talk about chapter 1. Dr. Joshua Herring, former guest of the show. He's going to do chapter 2. Joseph Weigel, also former guest of the show, he's going to do chapter 3, and then we'll just have a big retrospective with a special guest, who I'm not going to name, but it's going to be great.
That's wonderful. Yeah, it's going to be a really good season.
Historically, what's been your relationship with the Abolition of Man? Matt, have you read it yet?
No. It's been how would I phrase this? There's a curiosity and an excitement.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I've been intimidated up until now. Not like really, but
it's intimidating. It's a tough book.
What I have heard from this is I have heard praises heaped on it for the wisdom foundational wisdom that it imparts, particularly related to the beginning of Mere Christianity and argument for morality. One that I've been very honest, I've struggled with as like a great argument, even having that conversation with Trent Horn. So I have a deep curiosity for what is about to be written in here. I actually don't know a lot beyond what I just said, is to expect it to be something about some survey of human morality across different geographical landscapes. I really have nothing much beyond that. I think I expect to be pretty heady, and that's about it.
I've read it. I'm sure I read it years ago and have tried to reread it a number of times, but I always get bogged down. But I tell folks when I give talks, often mention the fact that Lewis taught me how to think and taught me how to read. And a lot of that was through reading Mere Christianity and reading Lewis's essays and actually slowing down and tracing the argument and understanding what's going on. And so I'm looking for a refresher of that education of how to think, how to read in reading Abolition of Man and reading it carefully. And I heard Michael Ward speak in Orlando a few months back, and that was super helpful for kind of getting what's going on. So very much looking forward to it. I actually have a copy of the Green Book, tracked that down so that'll be a flex at some point this season, maybe during a common room.
Well, for myself, I think it was one of the first second-tier books that I read. So I grew up with Narnia. Then in my mid-20s, reread Narnia, fell in love with it, and then people told me he wrote other stuff. And so I did sort of the most popular ones, things like Mere Christianity, The Screwtape Letters, The Great Divorce, The Problem of Pain. I think it was then The Abolition of Man. I think that was when I picked it up because it's only a small book. And I thought, oh, this will be great. This is a sort of Saturday morning, go to the coffee shop, get something nice and knock this out nice and quickly. And I enjoyed it. It was definitely forcing me to think, but I don't think I could have cogently told you the argument of the book. And the funny part, and I mentioned this when we did season 1, when we were back doing Mere Christianity, it was when I got to the end of the book and then discovered the appendix, because it is not mentioned in advance. And I discovered the appendix, and suddenly, the clouds parted, angels sang, and I heard heavenly voices. When I realized one of the things that Lewis had been talking about, called the Tao, what he actually meant, because I hadn't really cottoned on to what he was talking about. So when we start going through it, I will make great emphasis as to when, okay, guys, when you're reading this section, this is the time to go and look at the end of the book and see some examples, and what he's saying will make more sense.
Much like you have to read the epilogue of Till We Have Faces first with the summary.
There we differ. I at least think between parts 1 and part 2, but sure.
It can, but for those who don't know the myth, I think that's helpful. But yeah, no, I'm really looking forward to taking a deliberate, and I think that this might be in some ways the most helpful season, both to us and to others. I do know the connections with That Hideous Strength, and that helps us to think about Lewis pairing a fiction with a nonfiction in his writing. Jerry Root, I think, was the first guy I ever heard talk about that idea. So yeah, I think it's going to be helpful to us, and I hope helpful to our listeners too.
And that's why we're doing this now. Firstly, because we like to alternate the literary genres that we're doing. So we don't do 2 books of the same genre back to back, but also because this is the didactic version of the Charles Williams-esque novel, That Hideous Strength, which we will do next season. And speaking of Charles Williams, that's the next thing we're going to do in the season after we've done with The Abolition of Man. In April, my birthday month, it's going to be devoted to Charles Williams. And we were meant to do this last season, but we ran out of time. Henry was about to be born, so we bumped it forward. But in Charles Williams Month, I'll be interviewing Greville Lindop. I've actually already recorded it. It was a lot of fun. He's written a biography about him called The Third Inkling. And I'm also going to be interviewing Dr. Paul Fiddis about his book, Friends in Coherence.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful book.
Wasn't just an excuse to get Pints with Jack to buy me that very expensive book and read through it myself.
Yes, I wrote a review for Crystal Hurd on that, and that's where I got that. So, yeah, it's a $150 book, but it's really, really intensely good. Professor Fiddis is the professor of systematic theology at Oxford and a Baptist, and he was a live video guest at the conference in Romania 2 years ago. So, very much looking forward to renewing our acquaintance with him.
And at the end of this season, when I'm be giving away the books that we got in order to interview the authors, that will be one of them. So that was going to be a hot
Andrew's eyes lights up.
Oh no, I've got a copy.
You can't have it, Andrew.
I've got a copy. I got a review.
I thought
copy.
Andrew was thinking, I don't get paid to give my time on this. Maybe a little bonus.
Yeah. I can sell it though.
I got to say to listeners, this is classic David. I mean, he's recorded this episode already, and it's scheduled for April. Do the math how ahead of schedule David is. I love this.
I told people in Petoskey that David already had season 10 planned out, and we're just starting season 9, and they thought I was kidding.
Even season 11 has a sketch.
I imagine. Not surprised.
But of course, we couldn't do a Charles Williams Month without interviewing Dr. Serena Higgins,
Absolutely.
and she should be appearing twice. Once to talk about supernatural stories, so Williams's novels. So that's things like Dead Sent into Hell, Place of the Lion, War in Heaven. So we'll be talking about that and just trying to give people a flavor for what to encounter. And I've started reading Williams for the first time, and I can see why people really like his books. They're kind of trippy.
They are.
But we're also going to have an episode which I've entitled Weird Williams, because out of all of the Inklings, he has the most skeletons in his closet, or just strangeness about him.
Yeah.
That we're going to explore. And Serena is easily the best person to talk to about this.
Well, her site's what? The Oddest Inkling? Is that what her...
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
She sees it, she recognizes it, she owns it, and she's going to be talking to us about it.
Well, I'm excited for Charles Williams Month because similar to Abolition of Man, I have a curiosity towards this. I attempted to do Descent into Hell. This would have been my senior year of college. I did actually read it, but I don't have any memory of, and if I don't remember something, it's most likely because I did not systematically understand it. And so I went over my head and I can remember bits and pieces. I feel like I remember what felt like a murder mystery scene in a mansion somewhere. And that's all I have. So I actually will probably read that at that time period because I'm intrigued.
It's really worth reading. It's also, well, I like reading Place of the Lion in between Paralandra and That Hideous Strength. And I think that they're related. So he writes these supernatural thrillers where it's like an ordinary English countryside and all of a sudden the supernatural breaks in. And it is weird, but once you get the taste for that sort of thing, there is nothing like it, and it's really exhilarating. So really yummy stuff. There's also, of course, a Till We Have Faces Joy Davidman connection, because Williams's widow, Michael Williams, lived fairly close to Joy in 1952 when Joy came to London. And one of the first times Lewis ever met Joy Davidman was in the company of Michael Williams. And they got together for a drink. And so it seems like Michael Williams was actually even kind of coaching Joy Davidman how to flirt with C.S. Lewis. And so perhaps there would never have been Till We Have Faces had there not been a Charles Williams and a Michael Williams. So there's a stretch for you.
Well, after April, it's going to be May. It usually is. And we're going to be in Jack's Bookshelf Month. So this is when we look at the authors and the works which really shaped him. And we've got some little doozies this time. We're doing Beowulf, and Dr. Ben Reinhardt is going to be taking us through that work. We're going to look at Chaucer. Dr. Simon Horrobin is going to be back on the show to give us a taste there. Dr. Carolyn Webber, she's returning once again to talk about the Romantics, this time Coleridge. And we're going to round off the month with a name that a lot of people won't know, and that's Rudolf Otto. And Dr. Joe Rickey is going to be coming on the show to talk about him, and in particular, one work which was particularly important to Lewis, which was, Andrew?
The idea of the holy. Lewis gets the idea of the numinous. Lewis and maybe even Tolkien get the idea of the numinous, the other, the holy from Rudolf Otto, and talk about him a fair bit. And Joe Rickey's always good money. It's always great to hear him. He's enthusiastic and informed and great energy. And so I'm looking forward to seeing my friend here. So yeah, it's going to be a great month.
Yeah, and we'll just wrap it up with one final episode in June as a season finale. And I'm hoping that we'll have only a fairly short break, maybe a month or two, and then we'll just run straight into the final book in the Cosmic Trilogy, That Hideous Strength.
So good. So good.
Any other thoughts you guys want to share before we wrap this thing up?
No, I'm just excited for really the next 2 seasons, despite not being the most popular books. In real time, the word that keeps coming to my mind for both of these is curiosity. I really do have a curiosity for Abolition of Man and wanting to unpack it in a way that I would never do on my own. This forced, structured, slow deep dive is going to be great.
I make you a better man.
A man with a chest.
You make us both a better man. Yes, absolutely.
And then also I've heard my sister-in-law had just read The Hideous Strength and was confused, excited, had thoughts on it. And so I've just heard a lot about that one as well. And so I'm intrigued to be able to just unpack both of these, to be honest. And now throwing in Descent into Hell, if I do that one in April, I think there's just a lot of interesting, more nuanced books.
Yeah. Well, I may recommend reading Place of the Lion, but Descent into Hell is good. All Hallows Eve that T.S. Eliot wrote the preface to. I mean, just loads of good things. And so I'm just really grateful. We've met a number of, I think it was Kathy Perrine that we met and a couple of others at, I remember clearly meeting her and at Petoskey, and so grateful that our listeners are coming along, and so grateful for just the role of the podcast. I'm really thankful for that. Looking forward to C.S. Lewis Reading Day. The week before, on the Saturday, on the day of Lewis's sainthood, it's a Saturday morning, I think, I'm going to have hold a C.S. Lewis Mass at the church. And so we're looking forward to lots of good things coming up.
Well, I hear the call for final drinks. So thank you to our stenographer, Julia. I'm going to pretend like I know what a stenographer is. And our sound engineers, Taylor and Sarah, and all our Patreon supporters, particularly our top tier ones, Ryan, Dan, Jody, Dave, Brian, and Meg, Rebecca, Sarah, Mark, Kevin, Paul, Bud, James, Robert, Mark, Matt, Erica, Joel, Amanda, Thomas, Shane, Becca, Paul, Gary, Stephen, John, James, Kate, Peter, Rowdy, David, and Angela. And of course, to all of you and whatever Andrew's about to say.
I was on a Bible study with Bud on Wednesday, and it was great to see him again. So, yeah, grateful for all of you.
Hope you said hi for us.
Of course I did.
I'm actually drinking the scotch I bought with his last gift card.
Ah, nice. Yes.
Well, please join us again next time,
when we'll continue going further up
and further in.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers.